Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know how we do things around here. We take these big complicated issues and try to, break them down, unpack them a little bit. And today, well, we are going deep into the world of Australian university salaries.
Specifically, Vice-Chancellor
Oh,
salaries.
yeah, right. Vice-Chancellors, got to be specific.
Heck.
Full transparency, this deep dive is brought to you by Jared Conazay.
CEO of academicjobs.com.
That's right. So big shout out to Jared
Yeah.
for giving us the info, the data, the stuff we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Now, before we really jump in, maybe just a quick refresher. What exactly is a vice chancellor?
Yeah. So basically, imagine the CEO of a company,
Okay,
but instead of a company, it's a university.
gotcha. So they're the big boss, top dog, head honcho.
Exactly. Responsible for everything. The strategic direction of the university, the budget, hiring faculty, you name it.
And I'm guessing they get paid pretty handsomely for all that responsibility.
You could say that. Let's just say their salaries are a little bit higher than your average professor.
Okay, a little bit higher. How much higher are we talking here?
Whoa.
In 2023, the average vice chancellor in Australia earned a cool $1.027 million.
Hold up. Did you just say $1 million?
I did. 1.027 million, to be exact.
Wow. Okay, that's not just a little bit higher. That's a whole lot higher.
Yeah, it puts them among the highest paid university leaders in the
The
world.
world. Wow. Okay, so we're not just talking about like a high salary in Australia. We're talking global top tier.
Absolutely. These are not your starving artists.
No, not at all. So how do we get to $1 million salary? Is it just one big paycheck? Or is there more to it?
It's definitely more than just a single paycheck. There's a whole structure to it. I think of it as a compensation package, like you'd see in the corporate world.
Okay. Break down for me.
So you've got your base salary, which is already substantial.
Hmm.
But then on top of that, you have benefits. Things like long service leave.
Superannuation. And then, to really sweeten the deal, there are performance bonuses.
Performance bonuses. Interesting. What are those tied to?
All sorts of things. Student enrollment, research output, fundraising success, all those things that universities love.
Makes sense. So basically, if the university is doing well, the vice chancellor gets a bigger bonus.
Exactly. It's all about incentivizing performance.
Okay, so we've got the average. But I'm curious about the outliers. Who are the top earners in this vice chancellor club?
Well, at the top of the list, you've got the University of Melbourne. Their vice chancellor brought in nearly $1.5 million in 2023.
1.5 million. Okay. Anyone else come close?
Flinders University, their vice chancellor earned $1.3 million.
Wow. Okay, so we've got the high rollers. What about the other end of the spectrum?
Even on the lower end,
Yeah.
the salaries are still pretty impressive.
Okay.
For example, the vice chancellor at Federation University, Australia, earned between $890,000 and $899,999.
So even the lowest paid vice chancellors are making close to $900,000.
That's right. It's a pretty lucrative field.
No kidding. So we know Australian vice chancellors are well compensated. But how does this compare globally? Are they really earning more than their counterparts in other countries?
It's a good question, and the answer is yes. They are among the highest paid university leaders globally. You might have some university presidents in the U.S. who earn even more, but on average, Australia is right up there.
So it's not just an Australian thing, it's a global trend. High salaries for university leaders.
To a certain extent, yes, but Australia is definitely leading the pack.
Okay. So the big question then, why? Why are these salaries so high?
Well, there are a few different perspectives on this. Proponents of these high salaries argue that leading a major university is an incredibly demanding job.
Okay, I can see that.
You're managing a massive budget, you're dealing with government regulations, you're responsible for fostering a thriving academic environment, and you're competing to attract top talent, all while trying to keep tuition fees from skyrocketing.
Right, it's like running a business, but with the added complexities of academia.
Exactly. And they argue that the salary needs to be competitive with what CEOs in the private sector are earning to attract the best and the brightest.
That makes sense from a market perspective, but, and I think this is a big but, doesn't it seem a little jarring? These massive salaries at the top, when you consider that many academics
Yeah.
and university staff in general are struggling financially.
Yeah, it's a valid point, and it's one that critics of these high salaries bring up all the time. They argue that the money could be better spent elsewhere, like improving staff salaries or reducing student debt.
Right.
They say it's a question of priorities. Where do we want to invest our resources in higher education?
It's a tough question. There are strong arguments on both sides. I
Yeah.
guess it comes down to what we value most in education.
Exactly. And how we want to structure our universities.
It's a complex issue,
Hmm.
but one that's worth discussing,
Yeah.
especially given the financial challenges facing higher education today.
Absolutely.
So beyond the whole ethical debate, what about the practical implications? What impact do these high salaries have on the universities themselves?
Well, that's a crucial question. And there are concerns that these high salaries at the top can strain university budgets.
Meaning less money for other things.
Exactly. Things like course offerings, research funding, student support services.
Right. It's like a trickle-down effect.
Some people worry that it leads to larger class sizes, fewer resources for students, and even more pressure to raise tuition fees.
So it's not just about the vice-chancellor's salary. It's about the overall financial health of the university.
Precisely. And how those resources are allocated.
It's fascinating how these high salaries open up a whole can of worms about the financial realities of higher education.
It's a conversation that needs to happen.
Absolutely. Well, hey, if you're listening to this and thinking, $1 million salary sounds pretty good,
Yeah.
you can actually find all Australian university jobs, including those vice-chancellor positions, on academicjobs.com.
Yeah. And for everyone else, maybe this deep dive has given you something to think about. Do these high salaries benefit the academic community and students? Or do they create a system of inequality within the very institutions that are supposed to be promoting knowledge and opportunity?
It's a tough question, with no easy answers. But it's a conversation we need to have. So thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And keep those brains churning. We'll see you next time.